Hey everyone, One True Natty here. Today has been 4 years of training and still staying natty the whole time. So I guess I have to explain my namesake. Well, natty is a term that comes from bodybuilding, and it basically refers to an individual who does not use PEDs, which stands for performance enhancing drugs, or steroids. Now, let me make it clear that we don't judge anyone that does those things. Um, I'm just saying that, the term comes from bodybuilding, and it's usually somebody that doesn't use PEDs or steroids. Now, in bodybuilding, there's actually two major divisions. It's going to be the untested, which is where a lot of people who are using PEDs will go to, and then the other one is kind of like a natural show or, like a natural bodybuilding show. And in that case, there's two things they do. The first, you take a lie detector test, so to make sure you're not using any PEDs, and then also if you get top three, then you get drug tested. So that's really the difference between enhanced athlete and natty. Now, as far as why did I decide to stay natty? Well, usually I think on film, television, magazine articles, it's usually going to use people who have pretty good genetics, by the way. Naturally, they have good genetics, but also they tend to be on PEDs and steroids. And so what happens is that people kind of get a warped view about what is achievable naturally without performance enhancing drugs and steroids. Again, not judging anyone that does those things, but I'm saying that it kind of warps a person's view about like what is possible or attainable. Certainly warped my view before I started bodybuilding 4 years ago. So really, I just kind of want to put out an example out there of like, oh, here, based on my genetics, which are not very good, by the way, here's something that is achievable naturally without PEDs or steroids. Another individual that you can look up is Eugene Sandow. He's also another person that is definitely natty because there was no such thing as PEDs or steroids during his time. So that dude is about as legit as you can get. Now, to start off with, I think we should talk about why I even began training 4 years ago. Well, 4 years ago, I was 29 years old. I'd been out of college for a while, and I got into the security private sector through a friend of mine. He was able to get me in there. And man, the security private sector is pretty tough. Basically, we have very low number of employees. Not a high turnover rate, but just a low number of employees. I think it's because the standard is so dang high. Like they want people with literally perfect record. They don't want to see a speeding ticket on there. They don't want to see any kind of debt issues. They're literally looking for perfect people. And since there's such a small pool of candidates, myself included, I was working pretty long hours, pretty long shifts as well. I think it's about 12-hour days. And then there was a point where I was doing 84 hours a week. So that's 12 hours every day. I think maybe for like 3 to 6 months. As you can imagine, not much time to go to the gym, not much time to, make healthy meals at home, just a lot of eating out. And again, the shift is you're mostly sitting down or patrolling the area, which isn't that often, maybe once every hour, and then looking at cameras all day. So it didn't take long for me to get a little bit overweight, and by a little bit overweight, I'd say 158 was the heaviest I ever was in my whole life. And at that time period, I was also getting kind of these really odd, like stabbing like sensations in the heart. Like it felt like little needles stabbing into the heart. And that was quite concerning for me because 29 is really young to be having heart problems. I don't think my dad even had heart problems until he was about 45, I think. 45 and up is when he was having heart problems. And here I'm getting kind of like a stabbing sensation at 29 years old. And so I thought that's not good, especially considering that I don't even drink, I don't even smoke, I don't even do drugs. Like I don't do anything bad, and I'm still already having some kind of weird sensation, stabbing sensation in the heart. So at that point, I knew I had to look into losing some weight. Now, in my athletic experience, I only have about 2 decades of kickboxing and maybe 4 years of gymnastics. And neither one is really good for losing weight. Both of those arts are performance arts, they're functional arts, but they're not going to do anything to burn fat, And so I actually had to teach myself the whole discipline of bodybuilding, which was an interesting journey. I wouldn't take it back, but it was certainly interesting. There was many mistakes, certainly many mistakes, inefficiencies that anyone does. I didn't really have any friends, so I kind of just had to figure it out on myself, just watch a lot of videos, read a lot of articles, kind of figure things out. And essentially the most efficient way to lose weight, or fat in this case, it's really just progressive overload. And you're going to do that with I like to call it the Holy Trinity. So basically bench press, deadlift, and squat. Even though I will say deadlift is a very technical lift and it's very easy to make a lot of mistakes. And so I really wouldn't progress with weight on that too quickly. Like that would be the slowest one that you went up in weight. But then bench and squat is okay. So at this point, as I said, losing weight depends on progressive overload. And in weight training comes kind of like in 2 divisions. It's going to be hypertrophy and it's going to be strength. And we don't want to work on strength because that's not going to cut fat for us. It's going to be hypertrophy. So what we're looking for is the kind of that burning sensation that you get when you train. You basically want to feel that pretty much as often as possible. Now, the hypertrophy program I used was 6x9 with 90-second rest. The only negative here is that you kind of have to guess what weight to put on. Basically, you should be pretty close to dead on the 9th rep of the 6th set, but not so dead that your form is broken. So if your form is broken by then you need to go lighter. And if it's too easy, then obviously you have to go heavier. Now, there's going to be 2 main roadblocks to fat loss, which is homeostasis, and then the second one is efficiency. So homeostasis, which can refer to both your bodybuilding program and your diet, is your body's tendency to resist drastic change. Okay, it's not going to resist small, minute changes, but it's going to resist drastic change. That's why it's very normal for people to go on crash diets, lose 5-10 pounds in a week, which is a lot, but at the same time they'll get it right back, at the end of the week too, because the body's tendency for homeostasis, it sees that, oh, we lost a lot of weight in no time, and then as soon as you get off the diet, you get it all back. So it's not efficient. It's not the best way to in regards to your diet, it's not the best way to kind of change your diet. Really, you want to do small changes, which is kind of what I did with the caffeine thing. So I had like 3 Dr. Peppers a day, right? And then I would be like, okay, so for 1 month, maybe it was like 3 weeks, I don't remember, but some time period, it would only be 2 Dr. Peppers and a Sprite. And then for the next month, it would be like 1 Dr. Pepper and 2 Sprites. And they would be all Sprite. And then it would go to Powerade, and then it would go to water, and that's all I drink now. Something like that, the body doesn't recognize as a dramatic change, so it doesn't overreact, And then efficiency is going to affect more of your workout program, which is where your body is going to try to simplify the motion. So not do it the way, how do I say it? It will simplify it. It'll make it easy, basically, is what it is. And muscle growth doesn't occur when something's easy. It occurs when something's difficult. And so you kind of have to just consciously keep in mind that, you want to use the correct muscle. Like, let's look at a compound lift, like the bench press is an example, right? So if the weight is light enough, you can use it. You can have the correct form, kind of like your back trying to touch each other as far as possible, and then you push forward and come back and push forward, right? There's a point where you'll get tired to where your chest doesn't want to do the work, but other muscles might want to. And that's kind of the efficiency coming in, trying to make it easier on you, which doesn't help us because we want to train the muscle group we want to train, right? Although I say that when you're starting, it's probably okay. But then once you start to lose weight and you'll kind of get to, I call it the customization phase, where you're like, oh, I want a bigger chest or, a bigger bicep or something like that. Then at that point, you can kind of just change around and do what you want. But for the initial goal of weight loss, I think progressive overload is what you want to do with compound lifts. And then once you get kind of, small enough, you can go ahead and decide, customize what muscles you want to pop out more than others. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about my workout program. So this has gone through many phases, but this is kind of the finalized one that I used to take my pictures. So first is daily stretches. I do that all the time. I think I still use the same program that I had on my daily static stretching video. So you can see that on my channel. I think I use the exact same thing. Some things might not be in there, but it's generally the same. Then after that, I go to barbell OHP. So here, using the Hypertrophy Program, because in strength program, my max going from like adding 20 pounds each time, so 45, 65, 85, 105, 125 is about the max I can go. So going to the Hypertrophy Program, I basically just discovered 65 pounds was kind of where it was at. That's kind of where it's at in terms of my, my shoulders being burning all the way up to the 9th rep of the 6th set. Sometimes I was able to get 70 pounds, but usually I'd say I typically just came down generally to 65 pounds. And that's 6 sets of 9 reps, and that's 90-second rest each set. And then after that, for a while, I started doing pull-ups to failure. And I did that also 6 sets of 9 reps. Well, I guess it wouldn't be to failure then. I did do it to failure earlier, but then as I finalized the program, I just did 6 sets of 9. And again, that's with 90-second rest. When I was doing it to failure, I got anywhere from like 13, maybe 13, 11, 8, 6, 5, something like that. So, but afterwards I standardized it to the 6 by 9 with 90-second rest. After that, I have the pullover. So you go to kind of like the lat pull down machine, but instead of sitting down right away, you're still standing, and you'll just kind of grab the lat pull down machine, and you'll keep your arms straight, and you should feel it as you pull down. And I did that at the time I did that since it's not strength training, I did 10 pounds, 25 reps. And again, I talked about it before, I have very bad lat genetics. Like I feel it, but it's like, it doesn't get big. It doesn't get big, it doesn't get strong. So that's why I did such light weight with that, because all my other muscles want to help out too much. So that's why I had to go light with that one. So I did that, just 25 repetitions of that. And then of course I would go to the regular lat pull down. So I'm actually sitting down this time, and I would go ahead and pull down, and that's another 25 repetitions, and then it would be underhand. So now I would kind of switch to here and pull down that way. Another 25 repetitions. After that, I would go to the bench press. Again, sticking with the Hypertrophy Program, I did 85 pounds? Yep, I did 85 pounds. So 6 sets of 9 reps, 90-second rest, 85 pounds. After that, I would go immediately to incline bench press, because I noticed throughout training that I was kind of like the chest was good, but then like up here wasn't, or it was pretty small. So then I was like, oh, I have to do incline bench press now. So I did that, same thing, 6 sets of 9 reps, 90-second rest, and that one was 55 pounds. And that was right after bench press. So, there was probably a minute 30 rest in between, but still, I just went right from bench press to incline bench press. After that, I would go to flat dumbbell press. I just added that because I don't have a good chest anyway, so I just kept adding more chest stuff. So flat dumbbell press, that one was 15 pounds, and again, 6 sets of 9 reps, 90-second rest. Next, I would move on to biceps. So the same formula, 6x9, 6 sets of 9 by 90-second rest, 6 sets of 9 reps, 90-second rest. And that was with 12.5 pounds. So I would start with the spider curl, where you're kind of leaning forward, and then it would be the hammer curl, so you're just kind of like, straight and lift up that way. And the incline curl, which is you're leaning back 45 degrees. Next, I did triceps, and at first I actually did diamond. I did diamond push-ups. that one was not a good idea. I did 6 sets of like to failure. So I would have gotten like, I don't know, 20, 18, 15, 13, 12, whatever. And the next day, like something, I don't know if it was the triceps or the shoulders, but something was killing me. And I was like, yo, I can't do this anymore. I actually put diamond push-ups back in my strength program, but I would just say that like don't do diamond push-ups to failure. That's not a good idea. I think I was down for like good 2 to 3 days. So I ended up changing it to barely narrow push-ups. So yes, the diamond push-up kind of like trains the tricep, but it seems like if you just go a little bit closer from regular push-up, that does it too. So it just seemed like, oh, I can get the same result with not much pain. So I switched over to that instead. So I call them barely narrow push-ups, but narrower than your regular push-up position. And I did 6 sets of 18 repetitions with 90-second rest. Next, I have reverse wrist curl. Now, I don't do the regular wrist curl because my forearm gripper that you have seen in some iron palm video, I forget. That one, it's adjustable, so you can increase the weight. And I just maxed it out a long time ago to like 40 pounds, so it doesn't get heavier than that. And all I've done is just I kept adding one more repetition every Monday. So right now I'm on 29. So I remember when it was like 14, 16, 18. Now I'm on 29. And so I just felt that I don't need to do wrist curl because I feel like when I did wrist curl, I could do way more than I could do reverse wrist curl. And so I thought it must be coming from the forearm grippers. So to try to kind of balance the muscle out, I was like, well, let's just drop wrist curl. Let's keep the forearm grippers, keep adding one more rep every Monday. And then reverse wrist curl, I would just do that at the gym, which I was doing. That one, I think it was 7.5 pounds, wasn't it? Yeah. And I would do it kind of like a pyramid down circuit. So it would just be like 30, 30, 25, 25, 20, 20, 15, 15, 10, 10, and then 9, 9, 8, 8, 7, 7, all the way down to 1. And then the last thing I had in my workout program was squats. But I didn't do it for hypertrophy because my family's genetics has huge legs. We have huge, huge legs, huge hamstrings, huge thighs. So I didn't want to do hypertrophy because that would just be insane. So I just did that in a strength training format instead. So basically 45 pounds, add 20 each time, 65, 85, 105, 125, 145, 165, 185. The highest I got was 185. Sometimes I got 205. And another time I almost died trying to do 225. So now I just kind of stick with 185. Now that program I did, in the beginning I did it maybe like 3 times a week. And then I signed up for pictures and I was maybe 2 months out from that. So I did this program every day, which was fine until like close to the day of. And then like the next 3 days, I couldn't stay awake. I was very tired. So I think I might have been doing too much, but it's okay. Pictures turned out well, so we're all happy here. Now, in review of the program and the pictures that I will put up here, I would say that vascularity was a lot better for me. I think that mostly came from barbell OHP because I tried to train vascularity before when I was competing in bodybuilding, and it just never worked. Not until I hit barbell OHP in a hypertrophy program, I was starting to see like bicep veins and like, I don't know if you can see it, well, probably not, but a little bit, you know, it can kind of veins pop in there. I never saw any of this stuff before, and I did everything. Like you're supposed to eat watermelon, L-citrulline, you know, kind of open up the blood vessels type of thing, and it never worked until I started hitting barbell OHP in a hypertrophy program rather than a strength program, which is what I was doing before this whole picture thing started. So just me, you know, I don't think you can see it, but kind of, not really, or it could be the lighting, but yeah, the bicep veins, they just are a lot more prominent now than they were before. You know, kind of that guy there, kind of that guy there, and he kind of connects up here. So I think barbell OHP definitely has something to do with that. So if you're kind of trying to get the, the bicep vein, of course, naturally diet plays as well. We'll talk about that a little later, but yes, barbell OHP, assuming your diet is on point, definitely is going to help with kind of like the veins, I think, especially like the bicep veins and up in the shoulder area. Now, I also think that reverse wrist curl helped with the veins. I don't think you can see it here. Can you? Not really. But no, in the picture, you can see that the reverse wrist curl vein, that's pretty dang good. I mean, obviously I didn't have the opposite side. I don't think I have the opposite side really, but yeah. So I think the reverse wrist curl was a good program to get those veins. I think that's the exercise that targeted it, because I can't imagine anything else giving the same effect. Chest. Now, as I said, I think my family, we have very terrible chest genetics. Like I had to hit 3-4 different exercises just to get something from chest. So, going from bench press and then incline bench press when I noticed that these guys were not coming up as well. And then dumbbell press to kind of reinforce the chest again. I don't know, can you guys, I don't know, my family doesn't have we don't have good chest genetics. Or at least we have to train way harder than any normal person should have to just to get halfway decent chest. Abs and serratus anterior. So this was really something I can't speak to. I think my family naturally has really good abs if we train and diet for it. So there's not really much to say there. Now the serratus anterior, which is kind of this muscle here, that I think that comes from 20 years of kickboxing, because we do punch in kickboxing. But that's kind of known as the boxer's muscle, so anybody that that trains in some kind of striking martial art with the upper body will usually have that. I did not do separate training for the serratus anterior, so that was kind of already there. Now the back. This picture is not a very good picture. Not the photographer's fault. It's actually my fault. So we don't. Well, yeah, we don't really do back poses in bodybuilding. So I couldn't really follow his direction very well. So this video shows it better. But I guess if you're flexing the back, you actually want to go forward. So you don't want to pull back like this. You want to go forward like this, so it kind of flares out the lats a little bit. I guess that was the correct pose. So that's my fault. That's not the photographer's fault. But in regards to the back, I'm pretty sure my family bloodline, we don't have good back genetics at all. Our lats are they're not connected at a good point. They're connected way too high, and it's just it's not a visually pleasing thing to look at. Now let's go over the most important aspect of health and fitness, which is really the diet. If I had to put some arbitrary number, I'd say exercise is about 30% of it. Diet really is 70% of it. So when I talk about diet, I'm not talking about people using crash diets to lose weight in a week or something. When I say diet, I'm talking about what you normally eat every day, right? Even if it's junk food, and it was for me, and for a lot of people, no shame in admitting that, okay? That's usually going to be most people's diet, right? It's whatever they're eating already. And in order, of course, to combat homeostasis, if we're going to change it, we want to change it very slowly, and permanent, slow, small changes, so that the body doesn't recognize it, right? So for me, as I said, I think in the first 2 years, I didn't bother changing my diet at all. I just ate out every day. I just added trying to figure out how bodybuilding worked. It wasn't until about the 3rd to 4th year where I started to kind of clean up my diet. Kind of happened the same time as the caffeine-free thing, just because I'm way too sensitive to caffeine. So I just took that out. Naturally, it became Sprite, then it became Powerade, and then it became water. And I felt better. I felt better. I feel better than I usually do. And so it made me want to target some other things. So one thing is that I would always eat out at McDonald's, and I'd get the quarter pounder, because beef is not as bad as like fried food. It's still bad though. I mean, obviously like fast food processed is still bad for you, but it's not as bad. So I would switch away from like the fried products to just their beef products. And then there was a time where I was like, okay, well, I don't need the sauce anymore because ketchup has a lot of sugar in it, you know? And yeah, sauces in general have a lot of calories in it. So I just like cut that out little by little. Again, not, sudden, just very small changes over time. So my body didn't really notice that I was pulling any funny business. And then I'd say the penultimate is when I kind of started making my own food at home. So for breakfast now, every day I make kind of like a 3-egg omelet. And at first I was doing boiled eggs because it has less calories. And then I found out that my body needed more calories because I guess I was training too much, So I was like, okay, well, I don't need to do that anymore because I need the calories, and that's okay, it's not a big deal. So I switched over to fried eggs. So I fry them on a pan. Yes, that has a lot of calories, but I kind of needed it because I tend to get dizzy and like tired. I fall asleep if I don't get enough calories and blood sugar. So I did that for a while, and then I was like, okay, well, an omelet is kind of a little bit less calories. So how about I switch over to that instead? And that's what I've been eating probably these last 3 months, is just a 3-egg omelet. Just a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Hopefully I'm going to try to just start eating it without any salt. That would be the best, obviously, but I'll get there someday. And then I would usually have maybe like a banana for sure, typically with it, or an orange, banana or an orange. So that's what I eat every day for the morning. And then for lunch, depending on the day, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that would actually be kimchi ramen. So I'd make ramen and I put kimchi in there. And the little kimchi jar, I would just split it into 3. So it lasts 3 days. But I've changed it over to tofu instead. Mostly because tofu has more protein and also it's a lot cheaper. Kimchi at Target is like $4.79. Obviously, it depends on your minimum wage. If your minimum wage is high, then everything's more expensive. If it's cheaper, if it's lower, then it's cheaper. But for us, actually, I don't know. I think South Dakota minimum wage is, I don't know, $12, whatever it is. But basic economics. As the people's purchasing power goes up, everything must get expensive. As people's purchasing power goes down, everything gets cheaper. But basically, it was pretty expensive, $4.79, and tofu was like $2. So I could get less. I could get 2 tofu for 1 kimchi, and it would last me 6 days instead of 3 days. So then I switched over to tofu instead, and of course, it was like 9 grams of protein, so it's more protein. So I switched over to that. It's the extra firm tofu, so you have to press it for 30 minutes. Press it for 15, replace paper towels, press it again another 15, and then I cube it into thirds, and then in those thirds I'll cube it into 20 pieces. So it's going to be 20 little square pieces in the ramen soup, and that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then also, I also have it with oatmeal, which I made it with milk, but I still hate it, and then I tried it with water, and I still hate it. But my friend was telling me that he usually puts protein powder in there to kind of add a little bit of taste to it. So once I get to the grocery store, I think this Saturday, I'll probably go ahead and buy the protein powder and see if that makes a difference. So, because oatmeal's good for you. It just tastes like depression. That and potatoes. Potatoes, like steamed potatoes with nothing, also taste like depression. It's very tough, but we'll get through it. Now, for Tuesday and Thursday, I actually make 2 peanut butter and jam sandwiches, and I put hemp seed on there on both slices. So it's 4 slices of bread, I guess, but 2 sandwiches. So that's what I do. I think once I run out of jam, though, I'm going to go back to just peanut butter because I've noticed that the jam is like too sweet. It's becoming too sweet for me. And believe me, I like sweet stuff. But I don't know if it's just, dopamine levels going to normal, but I really don't like sweet stuff anymore. My dad and my stepmom usually will make like pineapple. They'll cut a pineapple, which is super sweet, obviously, and I just noticed I don't like it anymore. Sometimes they'll do cantaloupe, which is pretty good. It's still pretty sweet, but not that sweet. But I love it when they make watermelon, because watermelon is like, it's not sweet at all. So I guess I lost my sweet tooth. Now dinner. Dinner is not good. It's not good as it should be. Basically, I just get a Whopper from Burger King, but I don't have any sauce on there. Oh, it's actually a double Whopper. It's not a single one, it's a double Whopper. I put no sauce on there, so it's just lettuce, tomatoes, then one Whopper patty, and then a lot of onions, then another Whopper patty, and then jalapenos, and that's it. That's it. That's what I would eat every day, Monday to Friday, for dinner. Not a good not a good decision, but I cooked breakfast and lunch, so just try to make the best of a bad situation. That's all I can tell you, really. All right, that will be the conclusion of our video. So 4-year Natty transformation, went from 158 to generally 142, 143. Kind of depends on the day. Sometimes I waver between 142, 143. So not that bad. Do I plan to stay a Natty? I do actually plan to stay Natty. Unless once I put the protein powder in the oatmeal, that doesn't make me Natty. I don't know. But I just want to eat oatmeal and not feel depressed. But yeah, I think I'll still stay Natty. Just to give you guys example of what's possible naturally, depending on your genetics, rather than kind of like all these, film, television, magazine articles, using people that are enhanced and trying to pass them off as Natty, which is the only time I get upset is if, somebody who isn't Natty is trying to say that they are, that I would be upset, because that kind of harms the fitness community in general, that you and me, when I didn't know anything, we think, oh yeah, you can get that. And then when you find out after training for 4 years you didn't get that, or you didn't try hard enough, when really they were just on drugs the whole time. And just to be fair, there are enhanced athletes that do tell you they are on steroids, and I have a lot of respect for that, because I'm sure their sponsors don't like that. They don't like their people saying that. So very few do say that, and I respect that, but those that don't, obviously I don't respect them at all. Now, as far as the workout program, I am going to change it. I'm actually going to go back to strength, because this whole time I haven't been doing any martial arts. And now I'm not saying you can't do martial arts with a bigger body. You can. That's kind of the myth, is that you can't fight if you're too big, but then like nobody defines too big. I don't think I got that big. I think I could actually still fight like that. The difference is that I have to adjust to the new weight. I actually had a trial martial arts program like 2 days ago, and then like the next 2 days, the back of my shin was in serious pain. So basically, as you can imagine, when you strike someone, punch or a kick, one muscle is tensed and then the opposite is relaxed. And so obviously my body hurts, because when I'm punching and kicking, it's not used to the new weight, the new weight of the antagonistic muscle. So I don't think it's impossible. I think it's possible. I just have to train with this new form. And I also expect to kind of my muscles to shrink a little bit, because obviously if I'm not doing the hypertrophy program anymore, then my body's not going to maintain the form, right? It's going to shrink down to be more efficient. So I look forward to that, actually. I look forward to that because obviously, to be fair, I will be faster. So I'll be able to move faster, fight faster. Also, I'm also looking forward to the calorie consumption going down, because I've been eating way too much food. And so I'm kind of looking forward to not having to eat so much food. So that's the video. You can use my body as an example of a naturally achievable physique depending on genetic factors. Once I get my martial arts body back, I think maybe we can do a review on the strength aspect of bodybuilding rather than the hypertrophy aspect, just to give you guys kind of a visual, because it seems like when I talk about fitness with my friends and they're like, I want this, I want that, and I tell them exactly what they need to do, they don't really it's like it kind of doesn't like get in their head, you know what I mean? Like they're like, oh, I want to be cut, I want to be shredded. Oh, you just have to do hypertrophy program, and then they'll be like, oh, I do that, but then they don't tell me what their rest times are. They don't tell me what their sets are. They don't tell me what their reps are. And it's like, then how do you know you're doing a hypertrophy program? You know. So yes, that's the next one. I'll be switching over to a strength body, and we'll do a talk on that as well. So thank you guys for watching this. I know my videos are super long. I don't know why. I can't shut up. But thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time, okay? You have a nice day now. Goodbye.
You learned martial arts! Martial arts, go!